Call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll take roll next. John?
Here. Oh, did you say Ron or John?
Ron is here. Sean?
Here.
Dale?
Here.
John? Here. Troy's here. Okay, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
There was a gentleman that called early this morning and asked how to get on the agenda, and so he said that he was going to come up and then ask to be on the agenda, but obviously he's thinking here.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, I was just reading that sign over there.
Oh.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Been moved by Sean to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes from the June 5th meeting. I didn't see anything when I read them this morning. Some people that weren't here might not understand what KLJ logering is, but kind of shorthand.
I move to approve the June 5th minutes as presented. Dispense with the reading.
Been moved by Dale to approve the minutes from the June 5th meeting as presented and dispense with the reading of the minutes. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, move on to the bills. It was a short list this month. Dell Marketing had to buy a PC or something.
That might be support. I don't know.
I know that Lori and I both got new monitors, and Bob got a new computer, and then the social services got a new computer. So
Is that, it says $588 for the auditor, then $1095 was for the sheriff.
Sheriff.
yeah.
Okay.
And those computers aren't replaced on condition, they're replaced on some kind of calendar.
They're supposed to be replaced every 5 years.
Well, I know, but there's no hard requirement to do that. That's just something that was put in place whenever, and we keep abiding by that. I don't understand exactly why we're doing that. So whether the computer's working fine and serving its purpose or not, when we come up on the calendar date, it gets replaced. And they keep saying, well, that's because that's mandatory replacement. No, it's not mandatory replacement. It's because somebody in the past put that schedule in place, and
I know Cindy was keeping track of it, and I'm not.
yeah. No, I know that. I know that. I mean, it was.
Who's keeping track of it now?
Travis is going to go
Travis,
through
If they're
and
functional,
monitor
why
them.
get rid of them?
Well,
It
because
seems to me that the only time you'd replace a machine, there'd be two reasons that I replace machines at the bank. If they die, and if the version of Windows that's on that
no
machine,
longer support
Won't
it.
run the operating system.
There's a third reason. If there's a profit incentive for the people selling them.
I'm just,
So I think we should do away with this man, because we're seeing it all the time. There's just, it's, and the same with these software upgrades. So those aren't done out of necessity. They're just done because it hit a time date that someone put in place.
what kind of software upgrades?
Well, we see it every once in a while where they had to upgrade the software to the newer model, and
Yeah, a while ago, it was because Windows XP was no longer supported, so.
that was fine.
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
But the equipment, I mean, there must be a schedule somewhere. I've never seen it, but it keeps getting referred to, and that's why we keep replacing this equipment. It's not because it died. And for running our software,
If the software doesn't change, as long as it.
No.
Well, you're running it on a terminal server anyway.
Right.
I would imagine. What platform is that software written in? I mean, no.
no,
It's
it's written. I'll guarantee it's written on a Windows-based software.
well, it might be, but it's some kind of database.
Yeah.
If it's Progress or something.
But I think we should talk. I think we should talk to Travis and IT and have a look at what is scheduled for replacement and quit this.
Okay.
He was going to make a new schedule because what I found is not valid, and I couldn't understand what it was saying. So he was going to go through and do his inventory and figure out what computers were updated at what dates and stuff like that. So that's in the process.
So can we put him on? Can we put him on the schedule for next meeting?
Next meeting. And we can talk about that by phone if he needs, if he wants to. Doesn't matter.
Well, I think we should just adopt a policy that we don't change unless it's required by the
It's
software
necessary.
or
Or
no longer
or
supported
equipment
or breaks.
Or fails, yeah. Okay.
The one for South Central Adult Services, that 12,000, it says it's for senior citizens expense. Is that for the buses or? Second half, 2015. Do we get this one regularly? I mean, do we pay 12,000 every half? I just don't remember seeing it.
I would have to run a report on the account history.
What the Griggs County Council on Aging, whoever the Griggs County Council on Aging is, in care of the Griggs County. Yeah, I don't remember seeing a $12,000 bill like that before.
That's the transportation services, isn't it?
Well, I don't know.
A little van, DLC running around.
I thought what we paid to South Central covered that van, but I couldn't remember we paid on top of that to have the van.
that we had $32,000 budgeted for South Central Adult Services.
On January 9th, you guys approved a South Central for the $12,376.50.
It's a semi-annual
So
installment.
yeah, it must be just,
Was that when Deb Cantor came here and she gave that presentation? And that was her, I thought that was her annual fee that we approved.
Yeah, I don't think this is.
No, this must,
What's the invoice say?
Just says second half.
second half of 2015.
Right, and see, like I said, we had $32,000 in the budget for South Central Adult Services.
okay.
Yeah, budgeted for it, and that's, I mean, that's the programs that they provide out of Valley City with the,
Mhm.
you know. So that's the second half, so we've used 25,000 of it.
Yeah, plus their annual fee that we, wasn't their annual fee 3 or 4 or 5?
Well, for some reason, the actual expenditures in 14 were 25,732, so that kind of corresponds with these two payments here.
That other one might have came out of membership and dues or something like that.
Right. We got insurance, utilities, fuel, repair, donations, younger.
Yeah, because there's $18,848 and $848.42 left in that budget item
After this is paid.
before this is paid.
Before it's-
Right.
Oh, yeah. Once it-
That'll leave 6,000, and that'll take it right about that 20,
Yeah.
25,000 somewhere in there. So, well, whatever double that is 24,750. Okay.
We might owe another payment on that mitigation plan. But I think we're paying $6,000 a year for that.
That's why Deb was here, was to explain that, wasn't it?
But that's not on the
That's the
senior.
That's-
South
yeah.
Central Dakota Regional.
That's
Council.
something different here now.
Yeah.
South Central Adult
Oh,
Services,
okay.
it has to do with the senior citizens.
Yes. Isn't that the little van that runs around and
Yep.
take them to like doctor's appointments?
Yep.
And-
The meals.
Meals and Wheels and all that. Yep. No, completely different. They're both South Central, but
Yeah.
one is a worthwhile program, one isn't.
Well,
See, the senior citizen one is very worthwhile, the other one is just bureaucracy sucking up money, in my version of it anyway.
What's the underground vaults and storage?
That's from the state.
Yeah.
Well, Emily Regan, that all she wanted was $50 to do the work.
Have her back.
We hire her for a year.
Okay, anything else on the bills?
Microfilm.
Microfilming?
Must be storage or microfilm. So it says in English.
Here's something missing.
Lease rental microfilm box. It must be old records. We better not be microfilming records when they're all digital.
Just storage. It's just storage.
Print them off microfilm.
Yeah, that'd be good. Secondary backup or something. Photocopy.
I thought all that stuff was supposed to be digitized anyway. I mean, taken from the microfilm, everything was supposed to be
Supposed
digitized.
to be all upgraded, right?
Be a question for Kelly, I'm not sure.
Well, I'm going to approve the June bills and vouchers.
Been moved by Sean to approve the June bills and vouchers. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Will. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. KLJ Jake Logreen.
I don't have too much today. As far as the chip seal coat that you guys approved to move forward with last meeting, we haven't got any word from the contractor yet on when they're going to get started. So as soon as we hear on that, we'll let you know. Graveling project in County Road 26. Tom Gilbertson said they'd like to start next. Well, his original plan was to start on Monday next week, but the rains pushed him back a little bit. So now his plan is to start midweek. Last I heard. And then also, I think in your packets you have some reimbursement requests for the County Road 26 project. The DOT requested that we would split the reimbursement request into two, since there's two project numbers. I guess it makes it easier for them to track the funds. So basically, we just cut our invoice in half, and there's a 50-50 split. That's why there's two letters now. So that just needs to be signed, and then Sam can send that to DOT. Did you have a copy of that, Sam, or I did? For you?
Absolutely.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Been moved by Ron to have Samantha send off the funding reimbursement request to the DOT. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay, what's
You don't have the
bond?
contract and contract bond sent here as part of the,
Okay, I don't remember. That's for the seal coat?
that's for the seal coat. Be signed by the auditor and the chairman. And I think there's a place for the state. State's attorney also. On the acknowledgement of sheriff.
Has he had a chance to review these?
I don't know if that was sent to Jamie.
I don't think so. Don't think that one was.
He needs to approve it. Approve it as to form this.
He said sign it, so.
He needs to review it before he does that.
And the project itself was already approved, the amount was approved.
Right, he's just reviewing the legal documentation to make sure everybody's doing their share.
So I don't know if he's coming in today or
Yeah, I think he is later on.
maybe he can glance over it at that time.
I don't know if we can approve it before he gives his blessing, can we?
Yeah.
I suppose we can, but
But we should.
though we ought not.
I'm sure it's generic forms. Yeah, but he could do that and he can then do that, sign that, if we get that sent in next week.
Motion to approve the federal aid contract. that a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
It's been moved by John to approve the federal aid, the county federal aid contract. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Now since this is a North Dakota Department of Transportation forum, I can only assume that it's fine. Motion to approve the acknowledgement of surety.
I'll move to approve the acknowledgement of surety.
Been moved by Sean to approve the acknowledgement of surety. Is there any discussion?
Second.
Is there a second to the motion? I thought you were seconding it.
Sounds good for a team. I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, next thing we need to act on, it looks like, is the miscellaneous professional services agreement with KLG.
And this is for those 2 hydraulic studies. This contract will cover all the field surveying, mapping, and engineering required to do size bolt structures. And the structures we're talking about, just to remind everybody, one of them is on County Road 15, the Mackville Road. And the other is on County Road 23, the bridge.
Griggs Bridge.
Griggs. The fee for to do this is $10,600. And like I said, what you'll have at the end of, like when we're done with this, is an estimated cost of the required structure. Then we can move forward with plans and bidding the project.
Motion to approve.
And we have to have the hydraulic study in order to move forward? I know we talked about it.
If
before.
it's going to be a federal aid project. You can't get any state or federal money if you don't do that, correct?
And then it determines whether we're going to do a bridge or a box culvert, I guess.
I was just unclear on whether that was mandatory or whether that was advised. If
I think it would be advised if we were doing it with our own money, but if we're having somebody else help us, then I think it's mandatory.
is that right?
Yes, yeah, to get the, if it, whether it's federal aid or state funded, this will have to be handed in with all the final documents to show that all the right procedures were followed. Biggest thing is to make sure we don't have any upstream impacts. You know, if we put say there's two 60-inch culverts, 72-inch culverts there, and put a 36 in, well, obviously we know something's going to happen differently upstream, but this will prove that what we were putting in is not going to have any negative effects upstream, and that it can handle the water so the road won't get blown out.
So in the natural road, it could mean just 2 culverts replacing,
Possibly.
same ones everywhere, but at least then we know.
Yeah, and I would think most likely it would be replaced with 1 box culvert. Most, and probably equal in flow area to those 2 72-inch culverts. As long as they were designed correctly to begin with.
Well, that thing works fine, so it'd be hard for me to imagine that it's got too much wrong with the design.
Yeah, maybe we can even go down a little in size a little bit.
Well, I mean,
we don't know, but
I'm just saying that the cost of putting a box culvert in has got to be tremendous compared to putting 2 pipes in there.
once you get into those larger, I'm just trying to think. We just did one in Barnes County 2 years ago, kind of the same type of scenario. We put 2 big arch culverts in, and I think that cost about $100,000. Box culvert, smaller one would be between $100,000 and $150,000. So they're somewhat comparable if they're smaller, but as soon as you start getting into like double box culverts and the bigger ones, then the price goes up quite a bit. Because of course installing that is a little bit harder, quite a bit harder than if it's a small box.
I move that we accept the miscellaneous professional services agreement with KLJ.
Been moved by John to accept the miscellaneous professional services agreement for the hydraulic studies. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
You want to sign both of them, and I'll take one back, and then you can keep one for your records. Just fill the date in on the left and your name on the right. I guess the only other thing I have is Wayne and I did fill out some more or additional DOT forms, and we submitted them for approval for the graveling projects on County Road 3 from North Dakota Highway 200 to Nelson County, and County Road 22 from Sutton to County Road 19, like we talked about the last meeting. And we just got an email this morning back that both projects have been approved to use Senate Bill money.
Okay.
So that was good
I
news.
think I got an email from Brian Hughes too,
Okay.
maybe.
Good.
Okay.
So yeah, as soon as you guys select an engineer for those projects, those can move forward and get bid hopefully this fall and spring, whenever you'd like.
Okay.
And that is all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
I don't think so. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I have some things. We got our new John Deere tractor on Thursday. I was at the shop. I wasn't going to drive it to the county commissioner meeting today. I didn't want to run into somebody.
Boy, that Macville Road is in nice shape right now. Wow.
Good. Yeah, we, like we were talking about, we did haul a bunch of gravel on County Road 26 to repair some of those soft spots that were boiling up before Gilbertson comes with finish coat on the gravel. And we did both east and west of Hanford. I think we haven't finished west of Hanford yet. But, Monday, I ordered that sprayer from, this is in the road department, what it is, I suppose, from Warren
Chemical?
Chemical, and I got that today. It wasn't supposed to be here till Monday, but when I come this morning, it was there sitting on the ground, but they had rubbed the wire against the side of the truck, and so on the reel, electric reel, but so I reported it too. And the truck driver had left a message on the answering machine saying that it had rubbed a little bare spot in the black wire that goes into the motor on the electric wheel. So then I called Warren Chemical and talked to the guy down there and told him about it. I took pictures of it, so I said I could email it to him. I ordered the one from Northern Tools, just a 26-gallon tank with nozzles and a spot sprayer for $299, and that's where we put that in the back of the Ranger to get down into some of the spots. And then I registered with NDSU with four people
Get certified?
to get certified. They're sending out information packets and stuff. 3 other guys in the also, yeah, I had a call from Marlo Kwan.
Marlo?
Yeah, we're up in the northwest corner of Griggs County. He's wondering if we provided farmers with chemical to spray the noxious weeds. And I returned the call. It was on the answering machine when I got there today. Returned the call. I said, well, as far as I know, we don't just give them 5 gallons of chemical. So I think you have to bring in a map showing where you sprayed and an invoice of the spray that you bought.
Yeah, we don't provide chemical.
He said in Nelson County, he said that they
We reimburse for chemicals.
I know Nelson County does it different,
Do they?
because those guys just go in there and pick up a
That's what he said.
case of
Just
Plateau
wanted to-
or whatever, Tordon, if they have it,
He
if
wanted
there's...
some curtail. He said, well, you better check.
So he's got thistle?
I don't know what he had. He just said spray for noxious weeds, you know. He was, yeah.
I think Jill did have some chemical one time that she was providing to the townships. I kind of remember.
It seemed to me there was down at Everline's, where they call it down there, I think they had some chemical down there, but whether that was, well, it wasn't the county, we didn't spray at that time, but I think there was people that picked up spray there, that's what it was. But I don't know how.
I think they picked up spray and then the county reimbursed the townships for the cost of it. And then the townships dispersed it to the, I think Tom sprayed some and Chicky sprayed. I mean, I don't know who was spraying the ditches out in the townships, but
Well, I see it like in that weed budget, there is contract spraying, there's like 6,000 or 8,000. I don't know if you could, say John wanted to spray his, he could spray it.
see,
Or
the,
we could hire
the
them to spray it.
reimbursement program is through the state.
Correct.
We reimburse them for chemical that they use to spray those noxious weeds. And then the county, Samantha turned that into the state and then we get reimbursed for that. So that's how the county has been run in the past. I don't know if that's how it has to be done.
But that's
That's the easiest. I mean, we don't want inventory chemical. At some point in time, somebody's going to notice and wonder why we don't have containment and all kinds of bullshit.
Well, and on top of that, if we're handing out chemical, then we need to make sure
Sure
they're
they're
certified.
certified.
Are they certified? And we're not in the enforcement.
I don't think we want to get into that game.
Well, and then these chemicals are multi-purpose, so how do you know what actually
Especially
went where it was
restricted
supposed to
use
go?
ones.
I mean, I guess you don't want to turn it in for reimbursement either, but.
So I'll just tell them like this, you'll have to make a map show
Yep.
how many acres or whatever it is that was sprayed.
I have a form that they fill out too
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, it's all in place.
Okay, let's just keep doing it like it was being done before.
Yeah, otherwise,
Sounds good. I have nothing else. I guess.
Good. Thank you, Wayne.
Although, there's one more. This
She's Columbo.
This is just a comical thing. The guys are graveling out there west of Hannaford, and your guy says, "Hey, there's an old car coming by. It's an old
Vintage.
yeah." They drove
all those
all those old
foreign
cars, like
cars,
30 foreign cars that drove the Hannaford Road.
yeah.
They came,
Going west.
they turned off in Steele County by that water users deal and came down through the river and past the Bible camp by Tramby's, went by Tom Johnson's and,
Huh.
They unloaded them off the boat in Nova Scotia.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they loaded back on the boat in San Francisco.
So they're going across the country.
Yeah, they came from England. Now there's an expensive hobby, boys.
And I was surprised that they try to drive all these back roads.
Yeah, just stay out of the way, they said.
Right, but I mean, drive those old vintage cars on the gravel.
Hannaford Road?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
That's a hell of a poker run.
They didn't know all of a sudden.
They came by just 2 miles south of my mailbox, and they went across the White Bridge and went back through Tramby's and on up the hill.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, it's kind of a laid back type tour, I guess.
Yeah, it isn't really a race anyway, is it?
There's
No,
guys with
it's called a roll.
helmets on and goggles and
Yeah.
just like they're
And they're all foreign cars, yeah. Well, not foreign where they came from, but foreign to us.
Bentley.
Yeah, Mercedes. Yeah, they're all.
That's all I got.
So we didn't cause any rock chips on them. did we?
We haven't got any lawsuits pending. So. All right.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, guys. You too. Is Dennis coming?
No. I received this while I was out at Auditors Convention, and I guess the dentist stopped in and talked to Lori about it, and this is the information I have.
So is he the one that's going to administer this?
Yep.
Okay.
Seems like in this email it got cut off and we didn't get the rest of the message or something there. It says the commissioner should be aware of this program, Dennis Kavishka.
Yeah, that's
So-
all that I got too. So I wasn't sure, so I was
It's
like,
like the
well,
rest of the message got cut off.
yep.
So
Is he doing the program now or administering it or?
What Lori told me that what she learned or whatever is that there is a bus in place right now, and it's like $5 to go to the.
that's the senior citizens bus. Can be used.
For veteran service.
That's why it doesn't say senior citizens anymore because
Well, adult.
central. Yeah. So anybody
multi-uses.
can use that bus. It goes to the VA.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this one would just be for veterans, and it's like a cost share, and there's like 5 other counties in it and stuff. So
So who drives it?
Well, here this is like any other. This is like any other free money thing. If you go to page 27, the monthly requirement reports, that's going to have to be done by somebody. That's quite extensive. On a monthly basis, we have to report all that. If you go over to the next page, 2.4, the recipient is responsible for safety, repair, maintenance of the van in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations. We have to make sure that all of the operators of the van are appropriately licensed, and they have to be licensed in accordance with the Department of Transportation's transit requirements, so they'll have to have a bus license to do it. 2.8 doesn't really play into it. Page 30, the county pays the cost of insurance, license, fuel, maintenance. The next one is kind of the bad one. County provides transportation to veterans to any medical appointments, and the county provides drivers, whether paid or volunteer. So what this,
So you're gonna be going to Mayo?
the reason for the reports are so that if we don't take somebody or miss somebody, then we're reprimanded for it and it goes back where they can take back the van if we haven't done it in accordance with their program, and then we have to pay back the cost of the program.
I don't see how we can possibly enter into an agreement of this type, not having any idea what it would cost or how it will work.
Or no budget for it.
And we don't have a budget for it.
That, then
Somebody
you
needs
have
to,
to take pile in with some other counties, or you're not gonna drive that way drive.
Right. And it's duplication of services. Any veteran can get on the, that's what they
South
call it,
Central.
South Central bus, and for $5 to go where they need to go.
So we're just reinventing the wheel a little.
That's the way I see it. I
And
think
an
it's probably a
additional
worthwhile
cost.
program if you didn't have another way to get there, but it goes to Fargo, and that's where the Veterans Hospital, VA Hospital is, and it gets used now for that. And the reason it can't be called a senior citizens bus anymore is because it has to be available to everybody. So that's the way,
But Dennis wasn't really sure about it either. He said, brought up that the other bus is there too, and that they weren't really sure about who was driving it and what this and that. So it was just,
Well, just an FYI.
yeah.
I mean, it's probably a worthwhile deal if we didn't have anybody else, but it takes some planning. You got to get, like you said, better counties, and then you have to have drivers, and then
Yeah,
they have
that
to have
takes more
physicals, and they have to
people.
have- and we have to maintain.
somebody'd have to administer that whole thing. That would be kind of a job.
And then you get all of the whole thing set up, and it's only for 1 year at a time to give you the bus based on money, and so you could get it all set up and not have a bus too.
And if your geographic area is too big, you can't collect everybody to get to where you need to
Need to be.
Yeah. By their 9 AM appointment. Right.
What if you can't find a way to drive it?
No, it could be quite a logistical nightmare.
In theory, it's a good deal. In practice, it's probably pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Dennis requested it.
It doesn't look like that. It looks like the email was sent to him, and he just passed it
Yeah,
along.
I don't know that he's in favor of it, from what you just said.
Yeah, well, he had brought it up and stuff like that, but
I mean, I'd be in favor of it if it was feasible, but it doesn't appear to be.
But Lori said that he didn't seem like he was really pushing for it, so it was just kind of.
Looks like it probably came from the state office, North Dakota Veterans Administration.
Yeah. And then I'm sure we'll charge some membership as soon as we sign on.
Okay. County Library Board appointment.
Yeah, I took over Ronnie under the 3-year term, and that expires in July.
You're hired.
Okay. Thank you.
I move that we appoint Ron to the 3-year,
Another 3-year on the library board.
starting July, 1st of July.
I think they just said July.
Is that a big deal? Okay.
July 1st.
You want it on the board that is?
They're staggered terms, right? Some are 3 years, some are.
Trade you to social service. board.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't be a good trade. No.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Travis,
Full courthouse. New courthouse. Is
I
that-
don't know. I guess so.
That's what I put it under, so if that's okay.
Yep. Old courthouse, new courthouse.
Travis wants a demilitarized zone.
That's what they call it.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what the computer geeks call it, a DMZ.
That's a rapper.
I don't know.
So what is it?
I don't know what exactly he's talking about. Oh. No.
I couldn't figure, I mean, I just thought it had to be a misprint. I don't know what part of the internet is militarized, so we have to demilitarize it. I just thought it was some kind of terminology was wrong.
It's public access in the courthouse. It's probably not filtered or regulated in any way. Is that it?
There is no public access in the courthouse, is there?
I think there will be over there.
They're talking
so that
about
they
the
can
public network, aren't they? The wireless.
DMZ demilitarized.
Yeah, I didn't think we had a public access over there. I thought we got rid of it.
Can't they go to the library for that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was one of the things that you guys did was got rid of the public access.
that's what I kind of remember.
I don't think we got it done.
Oh,
But I mean, that's the wrong word, isn't it? Demilitarized zone? I mean, it must be something else.
Using a computer that is connected to a router.
Okay, it separates the internal local area network from other untrusted networks. Usually the internet is what the definition is.
Yeah.
Like a firewall?
Well, it must be just two networks.
Or just a separate?
An open network and a
Safe network.
encrypted network. Public one and a password protected one.
Demilitarized
I
zone
mean, I do things through IT.
is an area in which treaties or agreements between nations, military powers, or contending groups forbid military installations, activities, or personnel. I mean, like I said, it can't be demilitarized. It must be.
No, it is. It's under IT. If you look it up under IT, it's demilitarized zone.
Yeah.
DMZ is a conceptual network design where publicly accessible servers are placed on a separate, isolated network segment. The intention of a DMZ is to ensure that publicly accessible servers cannot contact other internal network segments in the event that a server is compromised. A firewall is particularly relevant in DMZ implementation since it is responsible for ensuring that proper policies are in place to protect local networks from the DMZ while maintaining accessibility to the DMZ. Due to the non-virtual nature of DMZ implementation, it is not recommended to attempt a DMZ unless you have a strong familiarity with the networking. A DMZ is usually not a requirement, but is generally encouraged by security-conscious network administrators. For some home routers, it refers to a DMZ host. Strictly speaking, this is not a true DMZ, blah, blah, blah. Does that make any sense?
yeah, it kind of sounds like overkill unless Travis can really sell us that there's some good reason to have it. Because like you read, it's not strictly necessary. I don't know that our.
I think it is recommended if you have
Public access.
publicly accessible routers on your network, which means being able to provide non-county employees with access to the internet in the new courthouse is going to cost us some money, And I can't imagine that any of them don't have some sort of their own Wi-Fi hotspot they could use and stay off of our switch. But again, I think I lost that argument. I don't remember that for sure.
It must have been 3-2, because I was on your side.
I'm pretty sure I was on your side.
Well,
So then I don't think we lost the argument, I think somebody just didn't listen to us.
That might have been the case.
Well, and if it's,
is that ever
this
happened?
might be something that's required by ITD if there is a public network. Because of that, the servers.
What's
connected.
ITD?
The state's IT department. So that might be something that they require, I don't know.
Well, I'm
It's
sure they
public
do.
domain. So, you know,
Oh.
but I thought too that you guys voted against doing anything like that.
When using the venue of IT, DMZ does not refer to demilitarized zone. It's strictly an acronym. It's strictly shorthand rather than an acronym.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not demilitarized zone. It's just okay. Well, feel better now.
It must stand for something. So it stands for something else besides?
Yeah, but I don't know what it stands for. It is.
All it does is segregates the traffic in the
Yeah.
network so that if somebody has Wi-Fi access in our building,
Yeah.
they can't corrupt the servers. It separates that traffic on that Wi-Fi from the hardwired network. But I don't know why we need Wi-Fi.
No.
That's what burns my bacon.
And you have to have a special password to get on the county network data anyway, wouldn't you? On that router?
Well, they're just trying to keep somebody from hacking into it from outside the building. If they hacked into the, there'll probably be password protection on the Wi-Fi, but who's to say that
Yeah.
somebody doesn't breach it?
But so why in today's age do we have to provide Wi-Fi access when?
That was my question.
When everybody's got it anyway.
Right.
I was told that there was going to be 2 computers in the hallway that people could go and do their records and stuff
Right.
like that for deeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what the DMZ is for?
I don't know. There is 2 public computers there connected to the recorder's office.
But that would be connected to the network because you would need to
Yeah, that's
be connected to the network to look at those public documents.
what I thought.
Tell them to go home and subscribe to Andrew. Well, there's more public documents than real estate records. Hello, Travis?
Yep.
Good thinking.
Trustee.
Hi Travis, John Wakefield. We're here in the county commission meeting and we're confused about who we're engaged with militarily and why we need to disengage.
What was the question?
The DMZ zone?
Oh, that was, we were talking about getting for the public access, I guess.
Right. Troy had some questions about the public access, and I guess he kind of echoes what I was thinking also, what I had thought.
What's the public access?
That'd be for the wireless or the wired stuff that anybody plugs in equipment that's not county property then. So that's not on the state's network, but it's firewall different from the state, so they can't get access to like our servers, but they still have internet access basically.
Why would we provide that?
For anybody who comes in as far as the building if they need the internet access, I guess. So,
Why would we provide that?
one thing was when we had public as far as the court system coming in, news organization, things like that, I guess. Anybody else who wants to come in as far as needing internet, I guess, so.
But wouldn't something like teaching a course or something like that, wouldn't they download that onto their device first and then use it? I mean, are we responsible for providing public access? In today's age when every phone has access.
It was my understanding that Wi-Fi network was not going to be part of the hardwired network and be behind our switch. Why would we do that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question there. You said something about the wireless being...
I thought the wireless network was going to be run off of a totally separate connection.
But no, the wireless will allow for what's called VLANs, virtual LANs, so we can have both the private network as far as our internal network, as well as the public network as far as the DMZ zone. Then, so those two would be separated, virtually, basically through the wireless system. So that way, like with social service and the sheriff's department, they can connect to an access point that is actually the state network, and then anybody else would connect to a public one then.
By anybody else, you mean private citizens?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so my question is, what is that costing us to provide that access? We already see it's going to cost us between $50 and $150 a month. Why?
It'll be that $50 a month for that DMZ system then, because the Midco internet was not approved. Then you asked me to look into what the state could provide, and that's what that DMZ is then.
But if we didn't want to provide public access at all, what would that save us?
If you didn't want to provide it, then it would save us that $50 a month. Then we wouldn't have that added on to our internet.
Well, it says 50 to 150.
No, 100 to
50.
No, 150 is a one-time installation cost.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right now, our network is accessing the internet through the state network.
Correct. The state provides us a connection, so they provide all our firewalls and security systems. So we get a connection from them, an internal private IP address, and then they firewall us, and they do intrusion prevention techniques like that.
Right. So right now, we don't have a Midco account.
No, we do not. We were looking into that being the DMZ zone, and then when we were talking before, you asked me to talk to the state about what options they could provide.
Right.
So that it wasn't going through Midco then.
So the DMZ zone is $50 a month plus the Midco cost.
No, there will be no Midco. The DMZ is going to be a separate network, firewall network through the state system that'll provide that public access then. So they'll basically from the state we will get two virtual networks, one being the state one that connects all the counties, and one that's just internet that does not a firewall between all that stuff. So it just does internet for the public access then.
So who would you envision using this service? I mean, of course, it has to be password protected, correct?
Yeah, the accounts will be password protected. Like, if you guys came into a commissioner's meeting with your own personal laptops, you could plug in to the network and get on that DMZ, or connect via the wireless and have internet access for your meetings, and then you're not on the state network with your private laptop. Same thing with anybody who comes in that's not a government employee. They would have access to the internet if need be for their work.
So the Wi-Fi, the public access would not be password protected.
No, it would be. So, like, someone comes in and we would say it says Griggs open, and then here's the password for it to get access to it. So.
I can't imagine it ever being used. I mean, the only people I can see using it would be
Lawyers and judges.
right, and if they can't plan far enough forward enough to take care of that, then for sure we don't need to be provided it for them. In my estimation.
They probably all
I mean, we certainly don't need to provide it for us. We do it ourselves right now. I mean, everybody in here has
I can't
access to
imagine
it.
them not having hotspots anyway.
Well, everybody in here has access to the internet.
Yeah.
right now. And every county employee has access to the internet. So I don't know who we're talking about here.
We're having a hard time convincing ourselves that this is something that's really needed, Travis.
It's a service for the public, I guess. If you don't want, if you don't want to use it, then we're just saving that $50. Then it's nothing. It's not. The equipment can handle whether we do it or not. It just, just basically it's a setting in the firewall system for that.
Right. So we can not do it and change our mind later.
We can add that to the system at any time then too. It's not something that has to be done for it to function correctly. It's just, if we want to look at, do we provide public internet access to anyone who comes in if they need, I guess. So.
Right.
We can get back to you on that one then?
This does not hinder getting the network set up by any means. It's just another service that we can provide for the public if we wanted to, I guess. So.
Would there be would you have a fee then for setting it up for us?
It would be very minor. The equipment's already been configured, and it's part of that cost that I gave you guys for estimating everything. That was part of that idea of getting the whole network set up that way for that. Then, so it's a minor thing for configuration, whether we hook it up or not. So.
How about as far as maintenance on it?
Maintenance, the equipment, basically, there's no separate equipment for the public and private one. It's all run through the same access points. Mm-hmm. So whether that access point goes down, then it takes down our public and private one if we did it. So.
Sure. Okay.
So there's no additional equipment. It's just that we're utilizing the equipment we do have. So.
Okay.
As long as he's on the phone, we want to ask him about computer replacements. Might be that separate.
Travis, can you explain to us the rotation logic with the workstations in the county?
Cindy really handled that before, and I was talking to Samantha about that. I think it's something I should be, making recommendations to you guys, like we should replace these machines every so many years kind of thing, and then get that under so we can actually budget out for X amount of many years, I guess. So basically what happened before, Cindy would come to me and say we need to order one machine or two machines, and these are the ones that are going to be replaced. So I wasn't involved in the budgeting and planning of that, I guess. So.
I see. In my mind,
I should be, I guess.
Well, in my mind, just the way, not that I know what I'm doing 100%, but the only time we replace a machine is if it fails or if Windows discontinues support on the operating system. I don't know why else you would.
We generally do a 4-year rotation.
Why?
There's recommendations as far as the equipment failing on it and so forth, as far as the cost to maintain it becomes higher when the equipment's older, productivity slows and so forth.
You're working on a server. You're not doing the processing on your local workstation.
Most of our stuff is, I shouldn't say that anymore. The processing is getting away from the local desktops now. The state's having a lot more web-based systems and so forth. And we'll see that transition too. There's a few things that are still local as far as the software goes, and that's something too, like I said too, I wasn't part of the planning of that. I think that's what I should be. And I think we could sit down and say, hey, this is how we want to handle new machines when they come in, when they get replaced, and so forth. And that's something we can, you and me, as far as the commission and myself, can go through. We can set up a plan as far as how we want to do that with our network. So.
Yep, I think we should.
It's real easy. Broken or obsolete, replace. Otherwise, you use it. Been doing that in my business for 35 years.
Okay, any other questions for Travis? No? Thank you, Travis.
Yep, not a problem.
So what happens with
Doesn't like coming to our meetings, but he can't run away.
So like with Sheriff's one that got a new one now, where'd the old computer go?
I think if I remember right, Travis takes it back, then he sells it at his place, and then we get the money back for it. If they want to use it for parts or something like that, somebody wants to use it for parts, and that's what he does, is he takes it, sells it, and then they get the money.
So, does he destroy the hard drives? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff stored locally on these desktops.
I would think he would, but
Well,
that's a question for him.
Cindy had us approve the destruction of hard drives
I remember that.
at one point.
But what's a used computer worth if it doesn't have a hard drive in it?
No.
All Travis sells is a hard drive to put in it and then sells the computer.
I'm just saying.
Treat for me.
When our desktops fail or become obsolete,
Looks like
Bob Ingen hauls them out to his farm and shoots them full of holes with his high power, kicks them in the hole and starts a fire.
Yeah,
That's how you destroy hard drives.
we just threw ours in the dumpster because ours weren't that secure. So when a computer was obsolete, we didn't try to sell it or salvage it for parts or anything. It just went to the dumpster.
I mean, if you did that in the bank,
Well,
the FDIC would have your hide.
That's a little different.
And the keys to your door.
Yeah. But this was just a private thing.
Okay, more new courthouse, old courthouse.
I guess we can, if we look at 33, page 33. And I can point to it on this drawing here probably, that they've got, the way it's shown right now, they've got new curb and gutter starting right about here, and it goes up here, over there, along like this and down like that. And then it slopes down this way, away from the curb and gutter. But we probably don't need that curb and gutter. At least that's me and John's opinion, and Crippling was one of the bidders, and they don't really have a machine for it. And other people I've talked to said it's kind of a obsolete way of doing things. So with Crippling, they would just have this sidewalk raised up a little bit. So, and then, well, I guess the option after that comes, if we don't have that.
Are you talking about between the new courthouse and the old courthouse?
No, this is, I have it drawn so it's right.
south side of the building.
Yeah, this is the south side. This is the sheriff's new office. Or, I mean, the sheriff comes in through this door here right in the middle on the south side. So this is Howard Avenue, right along in here.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the curb and gutter goes up like this. And then they showed this all asphalt. But if we eliminate the curb and gutter, it probably makes less sense to have an asphalt in there. So I guess one option is we could probably save the money by getting rid of this curb and gutter. And then we could just have this sidewalk raised so that, and if it was concrete, it might be 4 inches lower, 6 inch lower. And then a car would come in and just go against the sidewalk. And that's the way Crippling would prefer to do it. And then they didn't show a valley gutter in here, but we've talked about it. It might be desirable to, and if it's concrete, they would probably just, well, the concrete would slope down and then just make a little raise there, and then just pass.
This is the edge of the street right here.
Yeah, this is the existing asphalt right here. So we can make a little gutter there. So that's the main change if we want to authorize that change.
What we ran into was the previous two bids were less the parking area. The parking area was supposed to be asphalted. And to meet our time schedule, we don't seem to be able to find an asphalt company that's going to come in for that small job and do it. So then the way to do it is to concrete that area. So then we talked to Crippling, and they gave us a bid of $48,000 for all the work that was going to be done before, plus turning that asphalt area into concrete. And then Ron went back and we adjusted F&S's bid. They were charging $11 a square foot for 4-inch concrete. We adjusted that to take into account the parking area, and then their bid came to approximately $50,000. Now, we haven't confirmed that with them, if that was going to cost, but we just used their fees they put out in front of us. I don't think it's possible from my phone calls to get somebody to come in and asphalt that thing. So we're the second best choice, and although asphalt isn't going to be much cheaper anyway, by the time you do the movement, mobilization and demobilization costs, it's probably going to be the same price anyway. So it's really down to 2 bids, F&S and Crippling, and
Croplings isn't in here.
Crippling.
Yeah, it's in here. It's on page,
It's, yeah.
it's supposed to be in here.
Yes, sir.
I see it on my phone.
Yeah, it's here.
What does it look like?
I don't think we did.
Is that Brent?
Yeah, they're right here. Brent, it's just, it's Brendan. This, he's working with, he's working with Crippling.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Cropling from Finley?
Yeah. But this guy's from Mayville. It's this one.
So Paul works with him?
Yeah. They work together, yeah. So he's got a curb and gutter machine, but he suggested doing it.
Just tie it right into the...
Yeah. So what'll happen is, if here we have the,
It'll just be flat and...
if here we have the sidewalk, and then the parking would be down a little bit, so there'll just be, and if you want, and maybe it's only down a few inches, but if you want to put those heavy concrete 8 by, yeah, to stop you from going forward, you can set them in there, and you can set them on the sides. There's a million different ways to do it, and he was going to do it at 6 inches rather than 4. And this bid, although it isn't itemized, verbally they said this is all inclusive. They'll come in and do everything. The dirt work, they won't see it of course, but they'll do the dirt work, and where the other 2 bids that we got, we had to prep the site. So we would have to go. So when we're looking at it from a price standpoint, if you add in F&S, the dollar value they're using for their flat work, you would have to add $15,048 to their bid. And then you would also have to add in, you see, the bid does not include excavation, removals, granular mat, which is a gravel, staking, trussing, any of that, where the Crippling bid, at least verbally, they told us, and they've got the gravel already there and put it in place. They told us that that bid is all inclusive.
So the whole site would be done?
The whole site, that the EOC portion of it.
So basically,
Yeah, it stops. Like,
It stops right where the buildings come together, where the main part of the courthouse comes out. It's the same area of work that the other 2 bid, except the other 2 were bidding it, and they were just doing the curb and gutter and sidewalks, and then we were going to have to do the parking area separately.
Because it was going to be asphalt.
With asphalt.
Concrete.
Right. I was just thinking that, I mean, you're gonna stop the sidewalk in the middle of the block?
well, like on this drawing here, it stops.
It's a logical place to stop. It's a logical place to stop, and the work would continue from there because the sidewalk just ties into the apron in front of the lobby of the courthouse.
Got to draw a line in the sand somewhere.
Yeah. From a money standpoint, we don't, I mean, if anything farther than where we go is not covered by the 75% match.
No, I don't.
Yeah. And
we'll shoot the elevations so that when the rest of it's finished, it'll just tie into this. So it'll just be an expansion joint and
So you
it'll
don't
tie
have a
in.
hump in the middle or something like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So none of the estimates involved anything other than in front of the EOC Center and going around the west side and the back side with the driveway and the sidewalk there. So we approved the F&S last week, but now I think we need to take it under consideration and throw all three of them together and take into account that what we're trying to do here, we're up against the schedule and price also, so.
Well, it's nice to be able to finish it with one contractor rather than trying to piecemeal two together.
Yeah. And we're speculating on the price.
And dollar-wise,
We're speculating on the finished cost on a couple of the contractors because we're responsible for, at least on FNSs, we're responsible for excavation, removals, granular mat, staking, testing, sealing, backfilling, traffic control, coloring, stamping. Well, that's no big deal.
the disclaimer list is almost as long as the...
Yeah, and the grade needs to be plus or minus 1/10. So we have to have it finish graded before their price even comes into effect, and then their price, if they're doing the driveway, is about the same as Crippling was when we were going to do all that stuff.
Then there were a few changes on the north side. We were just gonna stop the work right at the garage. And then instead of this being asphalt again, this would be concrete all the way out to the existing asphalt.
Yeah.
And instead of curb and gutter, we talked about a valley gutter along there.
Yeah.
So there's some substitutions that seem reasonable and seem reasonable to Crippling and seem reasonable to us to do it that way.
And this was all 6-inch concrete with rebar, 1.5 feet on center, with the gravel base underneath it. So it's
A little beefier too.
yeah.
So, do we know anything more about that lease?
I'm working on a complaint. I haven't had a whole lot of time. I don't have a secretary, and also the state's attorney's working to kind of come ahead of that. But I'm working on a complaint. I have it right here, but I haven't filed anything.
To
Take it to court soon.
So you had somebody review that lease, or you reviewed it yourself?
I reviewed it myself. I think it's my opinion that there's a clear breach in it because we don't have what their side of the lease was, what they were supposed to provide the county. We paid for the quiet enjoyment of this building, and we don't have the quiet enjoyment of the building. It's no different than signing a lease for an apartment or another building, and you pay your rent and you don't get the quiet enjoyment of it.
I think should we do this or should we do the lease or? Because we're gonna have to take this under consideration and put all three of them back into the hat, decide which one we're gonna do. But I don't think it's dependent on that. I don't think it's dependent on what we do as far as this lease. We're obligated to
We
finish.
still have to finish the EOC portion of the building, no matter what. I mean,
I understand
that's
that.
what
But
we're
I
saying.
think we still have to finish the courthouse too.
Well, that's another matter for, that's another matter, but this for certain has to be done right now. I mean, we have until September in order to finish this, and we've got these bids in place and to get that part of it done. And it is not going to make one iota difference as far as price goes, whether we do the whole thing or this. Because where they stop is an easy starting point again. It's no different than coming back the next week and doing it.
Especially with Crippling.
Right.
F&S might have a $500 move-in charge, but
Right.
Crippling, I don't know.
What's the availability of Brooklyn or Crippling?
He thought he could get it done in July.
Yeah, early July.
Do Bergstrom's have those bollards poured? The light pedestals?
No, I don't. They were gonna come out this week, but I don't recall, Bergstrom didn't come out this week, did they?
I don't think so.
They still got a,
Well, they'd had to come and get a key if they didn't.
Right. And I think the only people that came in was Frederickson and Hope Glass.
Yeah, and that's it.
Oh,
So I think what we need to do here is take it back under advisement. I think we need to rescind the previous acceptance of the F and S bid and put it back, put all three back into the half and decide which one we want, what's going to work out best.
Lindbergh's was also planning on asphalt, not flat work, right?
But he wasn't even in there. I mean, so F and S didn't put the price of the
Flat work in.
flat work in. Neither did Lindbergh. And Lindbergh has a time constraint. He's way.
And they're gonna be way higher than the
well,
other
that's
two.
where he said he can't do it.
Oh, it's just-
Yeah.
Due to a scheduling conflict,
Yeah.
they can't do it, period, so.
So, to meet our time schedule, he couldn't. I mean, he didn't say for sure he couldn't do it, but to meet our time schedule, he couldn't, so. So I make a motion that we rescind the acceptance of the F and S bid and rebid all three, take all three bids under review. And award based on cost and need here.
been moved by John to rescind the approval of the F and S concrete paving bid. Is there a second to that motion?
So moved.
So, moved, seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Right.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
How do we do that? And do we just have a vote on, each one of them?
I don't know.
Someone can make a motion.
If somebody makes a motion to accept the other one, and if you have a preference, it'll pass. If everybody else agrees, or three.
I know sometimes they go through and they vote on the least likely award, and they throw that out and then they vote between the other two.
I don't know that that's a requirement.
Well, then if we want to go over them, then, I mean, the high points of it is that Lindbergh and F&S Concrete are going to, it was bid with curb and gutter. F&S was cheaper considerably by $8,000, but both those bids were lacking in the flat work. Using F&S's dollar value for their flat work and correlating it back to what needs to be done, that would add $15,000 to their bid. And then you would have to add in all the rest of the prep. Bren Construction, all that is, although that's not a very itemized bid, verbally, and we can confirm that, that's all included in that bid, but that's what he told us verbally. So price-wise, we have basically $50,000, $48,000, and $43,000, but the $43,000, we don't have a dollar for their flat work, so we can assume that it's $15,000, $16,000 somewhere in there. Quality of work, we don't have any indication of one being better than the other. There's no way to compare that. As far as timeliness of work, Ron tells us that F&S is possibly going to do it in July, and Ripley and Bren could do it they tell us in July.
that's the information we have on that, and that's as close as we come because we couldn't get anybody else to participate. But the flat work, you know, the asphalt, we couldn't get anybody to even look at it.
And Brent was the preparation work besides too.
Yeah, they bring it in, they take out the utilities, we take out, they put the grade, they would.
Well, I'd make a motion we accept Brin Construction's proposal for completing the parking lot and sidewalks.
It's been moved by Sean to accept the proposal from Bren Construction to complete the outside work on the EOC. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion?
Could we preference that to getting some kind of obligation from them that this is complete, this is finished, this is the grading and everything in place?
Yeah, probably so. And that they will do it in July.
Yeah.
Because if they get real busy, we might have to.
Yeah, and the first part of July is what we need to have this.
Yeah. So I guess that could be included in your motion.
Yes, I guess subject to complete dollar proposal and timeliness of completing the project.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Anything else on the courthouse?
Well, now the complaint. I'll guarantee you we can find an attorney that will say that we are 100% right in this, and we can find an attorney that will say we have no chance.
Oh, absolutely.
So the only thing to do here is to file a complaint and let a third party decide it's them.
We got no
And then we'll live with the consequences of that. We can fight about this thing forever. Let's present the facts, and the facts are, here's the lease agreement, here's what we've done, here's what they've done, who's right. Once that's done, once there's a decision made there, then we either we abide by the decision. So if the decision is, yes, that's all the building authority has to accomplish, the county goes in and finishes it.
Okay.
If it's the other way, it's the other way, and then at least we'll come to a place in the road where it goes like this, and there'll be no more pointing fingers. Either you guys do it, or we'll do it. And we're just gonna have to put it on, if it's the county's obligation, we're just going to have to do it. We're gonna have to swallow hard and do it.
Should let you guys know probably the timing of this next week. I have court on Tuesday, State's Attorney's Convention Wednesday, Thursday. I have to get some more COEs. I report at the end of the month. And Friday I have court in Lakota, so it'll probably be the following week that something gets done on it.
And you'll file it where?
Here.
Do we need to act on it?
I don't think so. I don't think we.
It's my job to do it.
Okay.
By statute.
I mean, we can't even tell him to do it. If Jamie doesn't want to do it,
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Jamie doesn't want to do it. And if Jamie wants to do it, we don't want to do it. It's still up to.
Well, the county spent $280,000 or whatever it is, and we haven't gotten anything for it. So, I mean, we have to do something.
Okay.
Personally, so we can argue about this forever, and it's not going to get anywhere. We don't have anybody to argue with anymore.
Right.
It's not done arguing amongst ourselves.
More likely to win.
Scott done with the office renovation?
Yeah, Ron and I were in there. It looks like it was built that way. I mean, it looks really good. The glass is in, Ron?
All the glasses in.
So just wait for
It's about ready to
certificate
move,
then?
it's about ready to move in, Joe, our side of it.
Electrical.
Well, that's the big thing, that electrical inspector can sign off on it. And Bergstrom, like I said, I don't think they showed up this week, but about all they have to do is call the electrical, well, no, I guess they do have some more work to do too.
Sludge, shoot them off, maybe.
What's that?
Hell on my way.
Though, at Ron, it wasn't the wall hung units that caused the problem.
No.
That's what I thought. So if we gotta move those things, it isn't a big deal to move them 1.5 feet. It's just, they soldered onto the copper wire cables anyway, they can cut them.
Except for they gotta re-evacuate the system.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it was just that Bergstrom didn't bring the right fittings that day for the
Right.
wall mounted units. So I don't think they're done yet.
So do you have so somebody have Bergstrom's number, they call and get them back here?
Well, I've been letting Troy
Okay.
do the contact with him. I did call him Monday because I couldn't get a hold of Mike Hanson. I was ready to have them, see if I could have them do the wiring in the sheriff's new office, but then Mike Hanson showed up.
But other than that, it just needs to be straightened up and cleaned up and,
Ready to go.
right. I don't know if we've solved the key situation, but
I don't know.
Still missing one.
still missing one.
And that's the responsibility of construction engineers because they were in their possession.
They say that
Who had
a county employee has it.
Which one? Who'd they give it to?
Well, without me being able to twist on their arm, they wouldn't exactly tell me. They said all I can say is the county employee's got it. Yeah.
Did you ask if they were still a county employee?
No, I didn't. I know it's not Samantha, put it that way.
And the letter that Bob Hook wrote, we sent that into the keying company, didn't we? He said he's no longer the representative that we are. So.
Yep, and I got the paperwork filed in my office.
Okay.
So we could ask questions of them now. We could ask if that, we know which key is missing, how many keys do we have to change, rekey it in order to make it secure again.
Yeah, because eventually we'll have to order another lock. But right now, we could take the lock from his old office and put in his new office.
Yeah.
And then
Good
just
evening.
worry about, oh, and then we couldn't. Well, depending on who's moving where, we could take the lock from the old state's attorney's office, if that's going to be social services. We could take that lock and put it on Jamie's new office.
Right.
But then his deputy would have to be rekeyed. So there's going to be some things.
Somewhere along the line. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, Robin Peter. To take
Yeah,
all,
eventually we'll have to rekey Jamie's deputy, depending on how he wants it. Because I suppose you may not want your deputy to have a key to your office, but you want one to theirs. That's the sort of thing you'll have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the electrical sign off and the site work are about the only things that then there could be a move in.
That doesn't look like government software. It looks like a query program.
They were just at the.
Yep, yep.
And the door for Bob's new office hasn't arrived yet, but that'll be here in a couple of weeks. And the hardware hasn't arrived yet.
Okay.
But that, he can move in without the door.
I emailed Josh. He hasn't gotten back to me.
Did we get a response from Bob as far as the DES grant and what is in the system? I mean, do we know what's been turned? Are we
current?
Are we current? Yeah. As far as
We didn't get an answer. And I did call Debbie Lacombe both yesterday and this morning. She hasn't been returning my calls. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. She didn't return. either one of my calls, and I was asking her just that, if she's still processing any more requests.
Well, it shouldn't be too tough of a question to ask somebody here that's doing the work.
Mhm.
No, the question is easy, but the answer is hard.
Yeah.
I ask the question all the time, but because we don't know for sure whether or not there's numerous requests that have been sent in that have came back, either requests for more information,
Or documentation, or
and there's never been any fluid way of showing whether or not that was followed up on. Some of them were rolled over into the next request, and so it was never itemized. So at least I haven't been able to. I don't think Ron's been able to answer that question. Have we been reimbursed for everything that we're entitled to be reimbursed for? And the reason we don't know that is because there has been just horrible documentation as far as the reimbursement requests. They overlap. They, like I said, roll one into the other. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It wasn't put on a spreadsheet where, all right, denied, need more information, and then resubmitted. It's not like that. So there's two ways to handle that. We either need to max out the grant request using
what's left.
necessary items to complete, and then we don't have to worry about it because we're going to have to pay for it anyway. Or if we can't do that, then we have to go through and make sure that we're entitled to, that we've gotten back every dime that we should have got back. But it kind of looks like we're going to max out the grant request and the grant amount anyway. Correct, Ron?
Real close.
Yeah, and with this 48,000, I think that it's going to be real close. And in order to do that, we're going to have to use about $50,000 worth of county money, correct? I mean, it's already in the system. We just won't be able to get it back out.
I'm not sure. Well, for this next grant request, we'll need 30,000
Right.
of county money for
Right.
that, but then we'll get 70 or whatever it goes back.
Yeah. So when it's all said and done at the end of it, I think there'll be like $5,000 extra that we'll have to then put in from the county because we had 24, now it's going to take 29 in total for our 35 for our match. But we're getting real tight here in time. We've got to get this turned in because this just doesn't go pop, pop, pop. This is, you've seen how slow it is. But somehow, somewhere, we need to get control of these reimbursement requests. We're not getting it, nothing's getting done that's supposed to be done. So I don't know exactly how we handle that. The grant administrator is Bob. But everybody claims they don't have nothing to do with it. So we're probably going to have to just. I think for sure, pretty quick here, we're just going to have to get a hold of Debbie and more importantly, Greg Wills, and go sit down with them and get it straightened out. Because it's not going anywhere the way it is. And there's either no documentation on our side of it, or they're unwilling to give it to us. So I don't think they've got any suggestions.
Well, I guess, like I say, if we max the grant out, I guess it's irrelevant then, but that just keeps kicking the can down the road is all that does.
Mm-hmm.
So we only got, what, 2.5 months to.
So, yeah.
Is it September 15th?
Well, I think so.
I think it was, so, 3 months, then it would be, or just a little under 3 months now. We're done. Is it just all requests gotta be turned in by the 15th?
Everything's gotta be done by the 15th, my
Or
understanding
the
is.
last check's supposed to be back by the 15th?
My understanding is it's supposed to run, and we're supposed to be in there as a functioning building that time.
We don't have any authority over the sheriff's department, but we do have authority over the DPS position. That is a hired position by the county, and we're in charge of that. Theoretically, if we don't like the way it's being done, we would have recourse. I don't know what good that would do right now anyway, because who's gonna step in and fix it, but the DES director works at the pleasure of the county commissioners, and we're responsible for that job performance. And there's just absolutely nothing been taking place there.
What was the last bills we had? K&J?
Yeah, I don't think we've said in K&J's. Well, you wouldn't know, I guess, but the K&J flooring, they sent in, they billed us for $11,000. But I don't think we've sent in a reimbursement request for that.
That's the last thing we paid that should have been sent.
Well, Shoals Mechanical, we probably turned in a bill for those mechanical units after K&J did, I think.
Yeah, but remember, they turned that in, and they turned it in as repairs.
Yeah, they had to resubmit a different
Oh, that's
receipt.
right, so
Yeah.
maybe that is something, so there must be something out there, and maybe K&J is with that bill, I don't know.
Well, we need to devote some time at the next meeting to have all the principals involved with this at the meeting with all the information to be able to answer the questions. And we also need to be, the grant, the courtroom grant is also a big question, right? Do you understand that, Ron?
Well, I think, I went through the numbers, and it looks like we've already spent over $200,000, which means if the courtroom was finished, we could turn in that reimbursement request, and we would get the 75% of that, or 149,000, whatever it is. But we can document on all the finishes that we've done, drywall and flooring and.
That isn't eligible, is it, drywall on the floor?
Apparently it is, the way they wrote it, and because I got the grant from Kelly, and I went through it with her, and I went through all of that, drywall and flooring and hanging the doors, and she agreed that was, she said finishes were reimbursable. And I said, well, drywall is clearly finished. She said she guessed so.
I think that grant is really liberal. I know down in Jamestown, at the Stutzman County Courthouse, they were putting in, air conditioning transfer units under that grant, so it's pretty liberal.
Ron and I thought that we should turn in a sample reimbursement request. Turn it into and let them look at it and say, yes, this is eligible, no, this isn't. And then we have an understanding of how much money we're going to have to work with to finish the thing. So if we turn in $200,000 worth of work that's been done, and they look at it and they say, okay, 180 of it is reimbursed, is eligible for reimbursement, then we know the dollar figure that we have to finish the rest of the courtroom.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think that's the next step here is to
Why wouldn't we do that? If they reimburse us, we can use that money to finish it.
to finish the courtroom part of it. Yeah, correct. It would be because we're not getting cooperation internally. We're bouncing these questions off of the wrong people. And all we get is opposition. no, that you have to finish it, you have to do this, you have to do that. We need to say.
Where is that documented?
What's that? With the conversations with,
I know that.
But the fact that the courtroom has to be finished, that isn't documented.
no.
So let's get that thing sent in.
Well, yeah, that's.
Because in fact, if we do get reimbursed, we will finish it, because then we'll have the money to do it.
We'll finish the courtroom portion of it.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, correct. That's, but see, we can't get past the fact that every time that we make a recommendation or ask for facts and figures and we get opposition. No, the judge says I have to have this 6 inches higher. No, it's got to be finished before you turn it in. No, you got to do it all in. And none of that is documented anywhere. So we would like permission to go ahead and fill out a preliminary reimbursement request and go directly to the.
Why preliminary?
Because we want to get it pre-approved. Put it that way. We want to get the so that if we turn something in that isn't eligible, that we can make adjustments here or there. We've got about $225,000 actually, isn't it? That we.
Yeah, right now. That we've spent so far.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't have to be preliminary, but we would like some guidance on moving forward here.
Right, but all I'm saying is, okay, there's things left that we know are eligible. So if we send in a $225,000 for the work that's been done, so they throw out $75,000 of it, they may still reimburse us the 75% of that. And certainly we will finish it with that, and we can request some more.
What Kelly tells us is we can only send in one request, and it has to be when it's done. So the reason I use the word preliminary is I'd like to send it. I took her at her word. So I'd like to send in a preliminary one, so they say yes. When this is done, this is eligible. Then we could go ahead and use county funds to in fact finish the whole thing, and we'd be assured we're going to get the money when we turn it in. So preliminary probably wasn't the right word, but I'm not altogether sure that it has to be completely completed before we receive any money. I don't know if it comes in one lump sum or not, but it doesn't matter. We just need to know what is eligible and what isn't. And
right. So we need to send in what you guys have put together, so they can review it and tell us.
what Ron has put together. I haven't done nothing more than review what Ron.
Tell us, okay.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Up 200,000. Send you a check for 150.
Yeah.
Then we're done. Then we can.
Absolutely.
Then we can let her rip.
Absolutely. But we're being held hostage by, I know you got to do these finishes and that's finishes and all the rest of the stuff in order to get this, and we don't believe it.
Well, I mean, if it all got approved, and they wanted to raise the bench 6 inches, maybe we could do that. Right now, we can't do nothing.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, none of that is anywhere in writing. Haven't seen any of that. There's none of that. I mean,
Right. And if they want to put it in writing, they can make it a condition.
yeah. I just take that as I mean, that's like we're not going to have.
Is
court.
that just somebody like?
That's like we're not going to have court here. The judge says if you guys don't comply, we're not going to have court here, and the judge sees that and writes a 4-page letter saying, no, that wasn't right. I never said any of that, and that's not going to happen.
Right.
So
Do we need a motion to have you do that?
I don't know.
I would say so.
I make a motion that we submit the work that's been done towards a courtroom grant, that we submit it now so they have a better understanding of what's eligible and what isn't eligible.
Been moved by John to send in the expenses that Ron has compiled for the courtroom to the courtroom grant administrator to find out how much of the expenditures are eligible. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Josh. Yep, I was going to send you an email Monday. Wednesday, we will be there finishing up the fire alarm, and then we plan on spending Thursday and Friday as well, working on the generator and exterior work. I don't know exactly what time they will be ready on Wednesday, but you should think about who needs to be trained on the fire alarm system for the building.
Sounds like Samantha.
Oh dear.
I thought we were all trained in that in grade school, and here the alarm file early on the building.
If you need to get up, pull the over.
Take shelter in place. All right. Anything else in the courthouse, Ron? Oh, yeah, there is one other thing. Do you think we could get the county to move these piles of dirt down here, load them up and get them over there? Can we ask Wayne to do that?
That'd be alright. They look pretty bad.
Looks pretty
They're
bad.
getting weedy though.
And they're gonna,
We got dirt, I mean, dirt piles and stuff.
do they need some of that for over here? Between the building?
No,
and the
it's
sidewalk?
junk. I mean, I don't know why we can't bring a dump truck up here and pay over and just load it up and get it out of here and get it straightened up a little bit.
Sure we can.
Would it be okay if I talk to him about it?
Yeah. Anything they use will have to be good gravel. They won't need it, is it?
No, I wonder if they need some doctor. But maybe that's just.
Yeah, I mean.
Anything else?
Put over by the county shop and pile in case they need some.
Yeah.
We'll just get it on there. Beautification before the fair.
Yeah.
Go dump it in the mud run pit.
Oh, here, let's ask him.
Yeah, they don't work on Fridays.
Go, John.
Hello, Wayne. We're still in the county commission meeting. We got a question. Would it be possible that the county could come up with a payloader and a dump truck and get some of these piles of dirt away from this new courthouse and make it look a little better here? Just dump it down somewhere so we can load it up if they need it again. But along 45, there's those piles of junk and.
Yep.
Is that possible they could do that?
We could do that. Right now the loader is out in the gravel pit. If it doesn't have to be done right away, is that okay, or how quick?
Sounds like a job for a brand new John Deere tractor, Wayne.
We could do that.
All right.
Sound pretty excited.
Training opportunity.
Yeah, no, if we could do that, we want to clean it up a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
We were going to spray it, but we can just haul it out. It'd be better.
Yeah, let's haul it out of there and then, do you have a box scraper? No.
We don't.
Okay, well, we can level it out a little bit.
You can't spray it till you're certified anyway.
No, I'm probably certified to scrape, but not to spray. Oh yeah, spray you said. Okay, right. All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
I move we adjourn.
Been moved by Sean that we adjourn. Is there a second to the motion?
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 2:57 p.m. on the 19th of June. The next regular meeting will be July 2nd at 1 p.m. and July 24th at 1 p.m. following that meeting.